Today, we're diving into a really complex situation. We're looking at how France's asylum system, which was built to protect some of the most vulnerable people in the world, might actually have become a tool for something much, much darker, all with a surprising link back to Nepal.
So, here's the central question. France has one of the oldest, most established asylum systems in all of Europe. It's built on decades of law and precedent. So why is it having such a hard time stopping some pretty sophisticated, fraudulent claims? To figure that out, we have to go inside the system itself.
All right, so to really get how the system is being exploited, we first have to understand how it's supposed to work. This isn't just some random process. It's a very deliberate legal framework, and it's built around one single core idea: making absolutely sure that no one who is genuinely fleeing for their life gets turned away.
At the very heart of all this is a French agency called OFPRA. Now, these guys are legally bound by international law, like the 1951 Refugee Convention. Their entire mission is to assess every single claim individually. They can't just look at an application and dismiss it. They have to investigate each one.
So, on paper, the process looks pretty solid, right? An application gets filed, the person gets a one-on-one interview, and all the evidence is analyzed. But here's the kicker. Even if OFPRA rejects the claim, every single applicant has a constitutional right to appeal the decision. This makes the system incredibly thorough, but it also makes it incredibly long.
So, the official process seems robust. But this is exactly where the theory slams into a practical, real-world wall. This is where we find the system's critical blind spot.
And here is the absolute core of the problem. Let's say an applicant from Nepal hands over some official-looking documents. How can a French official in Paris possibly verify them? There's no magic digital database connecting them to a local government office in Nepal. They're dealing with language barriers, different bureaucratic styles. They're forced to rely almost completely on manual checks.
And this isn't just some minor little hiccup. No, this is a massive crack running right through the foundation of the whole verification process. And, wherever there's a crack, someone is always going to find a way to squeeze through it. It turns out, this weakness in the system hasn't just been discovered. It's been turned into a highly sophisticated, organized operation. We're not talking about a few individuals getting lucky here. We're talking about people following a very specific, well-rehearsed playbook.
And just look at this quote from our source material. It says it all. There are informal but incredibly effective training networks. People who have already successfully gamed the system literally teach the new arrivals exactly what to do, what to say, and how to act to get their story approved.
So what's in this playbook? Well, it's basically a 4-step guide to creating a completely fake identity. Step 1, scrub your digital past. Delete all your old social media. Step 2, get your props. Buy forged documents from back home, like fake police reports. Step 3, rehearse your script. You practice your tragic backstory over and over until it sounds completely believable. And finally, step 4, perform. You walk into that official interview and you deliver your story with total confidence.
But this is where the story takes a much, much darker turn. The problem isn't just about people trying to find better economic opportunities. The same loopholes that let them in are also gaping wide open for a far more dangerous type of person to slip through. Let's just put it plainly. When a system can be defeated with a convincing story and a few pieces of fake paper, it doesn't just attract migrants, it becomes a magnet for actual fugitives from justice. It becomes an escape route.
To get a sense of the scale of this threat, just look at this number, 15,000. That's roughly how many inmates escaped from prisons during a period of major unrest in Nepal. Thousands of these escapees, including incredibly violent criminals, are still out there. And for them, a vulnerable asylum system isn't just an opportunity, it's the perfect place to vanish.
So, who exactly are we talking about here? The source material breaks it down into 3 main groups. You've got fraudsters on the run from financial crimes. You've got fugitives from that massive jailbreak we just mentioned. And then most disturbingly, you have violent criminals who are wanted for things like murder, kidnapping, and running organized crime rings.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, isn't there an EU-wide rule to stop this sort of thing? And you're right, there is. It's called the Dublin Regulation, and it's specifically designed to prevent asylum shopping by forcing people to have their claim processed in the very first EU country they enter.
But, of course, the playbook has a counter for that too. These networks have figured out how to systematically bypass the Dublin regulation. People will enter one EU country, but they make sure to avoid getting fingerprinted. Then, they just travel over unmonitored land borders to get to France. Once they're there, they use their fake documents to create a new identity and then file for asylum. As far as the French authorities know, they've just shown up for the first time.
The long-term damage this could cause is just huge. The source material basically describes it as a ticking time bomb. First, the obvious national security threat, violent criminals and their networks embedding themselves into society. Second, it destroys social cohesion because it creates distrust towards all immigrants, which hurts genuine refugees the most. And finally, it just completely undermines the rule of law. I mean, criminals aren't just escaping justice, they're getting state protection and support.
So this all leaves us with a really fundamental and really difficult question. When a system that was born from compassion, a system meant to offer refuge, becomes a genuine security risk, how does a nation protect both its heart and its borders? That's the paradox that France is staring down right now.